for your patience and appreciate all of you being here on this Friday evening. Um, so all of you had received a newsletter informing you about Boost, which is a product management bootcamp. What we'll do today is give you a quick introduction into what a sample class would look like as part of this curriculum, and also tell you a little bit about the course and the overall overview and what you can expect to learn from it. As aspiring product managers and product managers wanting to get better at the work that you are doing on a daily basis, this course is targeted exactly towards folks like yourself. And from there, at the end, we will take any questions that you may have. So the floor will be kind of open. So firstly, give you a quick introduction to myself. I will be the lead instructor for the course that we're presenting. I'm Abhishek, or Abby. I've got background in engineering from the University of Toronto. And then since then, pretty much have been doing a lot of different product work since finishing college. Firstly, started off at a large company doing at IBM, doing the Internet of Things product management. And then the next two roles were around two different startups doing AI product management. And in my current role, I do lead a team of product managers into building a conversational AI platform. And then on the side as well, I am a product management instructor. On the right side, you can see a little bit of stats on the number of folks that I've interacted with and educated over the last little while. So just wanted to make sure that everyone kind of gets a brief overview on the course and the credibility that the course really brings. So the way we approach product management is broken down into 10 different sections. Today, for the sample course, we will be going over Unit 2, which is customer development. But basically, the way this is broken down is core product foundations and knowledge that you need. That goes from Unit 2, all the way until Unit 6. Units 7 and 8 are about skills that are critical for product managers. We want to make sure it's not just the product mindset and product methodology that we are educating our students on. It is also the skills that are required. So we focus on agile principles and technology design and data. And one thing that makes our course unique in a certain way is that our units 9 and 10 are focused primarily on getting you prepared for the job search and prepared for interviews. So this 10-unit course really brings together 3 foundational components: building the product foundations, Unit 2 through 6, building the core product skills, Units 7 and 8, and then getting you ready for the job search and interview preparation, Units 9 and 10. So what we wanted to do today was give you a bit of an overview on what you can expect once you take the product management course that Boost has to offer. And a very good introduction for that is around customer development. So the way we start this course is really to talk about why some of the companies fail and why some of the products and features, they're not successful. And really, that happens when features and companies and products, they are built for a market that does not exist and customer that actually does not need it, and or users that don't want to use it. We then talk about customer development and what exactly is that. And there's a very specific reason why we start with customer development, because we believe in this course from good product management foundations that we need to build interactions in conjunction with users of the product in order to make sure that as product managers, we understand the problem that they're experiencing. So in effect, we are trying to make sure that the product that we are building will be valuable And the only way to do that is by having frequent interactions with users. So lots of times we as product managers or aspiring product managers and problem solvers, we think of problems and come up with solutions automatically. And then we think that these are genius ideas and genius solutions that the world really needs. And within this course, we actually go through and bust that myth that solutions that you come up with in isolation, that is not the best product mindset you should be having. You just start with problems, and problems is the exact area where product managers need to be. So as product managers, we need to figure out problems that are effectively everywhere. And we need to look at those problems and validate whether those are problems that we should be solving. We should be putting our time into for solving. Over here, we talk about some common problems that have been solved by some very large technology companies that you are probably familiar with. So at one point, a user problem was that I cannot communicate effectively with my team. And there was a product that was built for that. I cannot see all the food options that can be delivered to me, or I cannot trade stocks without paying a large fee, or I cannot be part of a group workout class while being home. And looking at all these different problems, that's how companies like Slack, DoorDash, Robinhood, and Peloton really came out. And this is one of the key areas that we in the class for Boost focus on. We want to make sure that we build or we bring upon industry-specific knowledge that adds context into your understanding, into your foundations of being a product manager. Then we dive into how do we go about discovering problems as product managers. So there's two key ways where that product managers look into for discovering problems. The first one is around observations, where we watch consumers and businesses in their day-to-day lives to understand what are some of the pain points that they experience. And one of the key things that we talk about and we teach to our students is keep an eye out and your ear out for when your customers, your users, they use the terms, I wish something could happen, or I cannot do something, something, something. And then blank, whatever that is frustrating. When you hear terms like that, that's when you really know that there's a problem that someone is experiencing that you, as a product manager, can solve. Then the next step after that comes out to be creating a hypothesis. Product management is all about a hypothesis-based approach. So we want our students to develop a hypothesis based off the observation that they just had, that if the problem that they just heard about, that they experienced, that they saw their user have, that problem could be solved, what would the impact be to the user? And then once again, with that hypothesis statement, at that point, we are way too early in the process to come up with a solution. What we need to do is thoroughly validate the problem. So we also, after showing a bit of an overview on what exactly is problem discovery and the two stages of it, we then dive in deeper on how do we go ahead and observe problems effectively. So one of the questions that a lot of students and a lot of product managers in the industry tend to ask, how do we go about observing problems? Where do we actually do that? And the answer for that, honestly, is everywhere or anywhere. These are just 9 various places, different places where you can go ahead to observe problems folks are having. So as a product manager, you really need to understand where are your users and where are they talking. If you have a group of consumers, end consumers that are interested in furniture buying and you're trying to build a furniture application and you see that they are talking about furniture on Twitter, on Reddit, on any of these places, then what you want to do is be at those places so you can hear the problems that you can observe, so then you can solve. Similarly, If you are building a B2B or a business to business product, and your business, the customer you're trying to target is an accounting firm, then you don't want to be anywhere else. You want to be at at various accounting firms so you can hear from accountants what problem they're having. So really, all you got to do is be where your customers are. It really doesn't matter where specifically, but you want to make sure that you are hearing problems directly from customers. Once you go about doing that, how do you structure the problems that you have just heard into developing a hypothesis? So, what exactly is a hypothesis statement? It's a statement that is made with very limited knowledge about a situation that requires validation to be confirmed as true or false. So, some of the key points here that we emphasize on is that statement with limited knowledge. At this point, as a product manager, you're not the expert on the problem. You have heard it, you have observed it. But in order for you to understand that greatly and to make sure that that problem is actually a problem, you need to go ahead and validate that to be confirmed as true or false. And you're trying to continue your investigation. You want to make sure that you can understand in a much better way what that problem actually is, and make further hypothesis statements so you can move down the overall process. And in order for you to do that, you want to make sure your broad hypothesis is validated as true or false. And a good structure we tend to use, and we tend to educate our students about, is the structure on the right side. We tell them to form the problem within the project that they are doing in class in this exact way. If the user can do blank, which is solve any problem, then they blank the impact that would be on their lives. So this would be the hypothesis statement that our students come up with in their projects, and then they go on to use in their overall workplace. So once again, we want to bring in examples from real world, from the industry, on some sample hypothesis statements. So I'll just go over one of these right now. If users can receive navigation with real-time traffic information, then they will be able to reach their destination quicker. So not unsurprisingly, that product is Google Maps. That product solves for the hypothesis statement and the problem that was identified. The other two you can take a look at, which I won't necessarily go over, are for Yelp and Audible. But bottom line is that we want our students to be in the mindset of understanding and identifying problems, creating hypothesis statements in a very simple statement, and then going ahead and validating that with their customers at this stage of the product. That is all around observing problems. So the next section, the next two sections that are in Unit 2 are around verifying problems and some of the tools that can be used to verify those problems. We won't be going over those two sections, but what we want to do at this point from Boost side is to give you an overview on what the class and the course can look like. And when you do participate in the Boost lecture, what that would be, what that experience will be like for you. One thing we are not replicating right now is the back and forth Q&A that we tend to have in the class. So at that point, you will have all of your mics enabled, and you can go ahead and have that back and forth dialogue with the instructor live in front of you. So that's the only thing that's kind of missing, but otherwise, this is exactly what you can expect from a sample lecture. So I'm sure in the newsletter that you found out about Boost, there was the link to the website as well. But if you did not have that, check out boost.product.band. That will lead you to the website, which will have all the details that you need. But before we actually move into the details of the overall program, I wanted to take a second and talk about how we at Boost think about the product management process, skills, and career. And this is exactly how our overall course curriculum and the roadmap is structured. So we start our product management process at the very center. We wholeheartedly believe that customer development, customer understanding is at the center of any good product manager, any good product process. If you get that wrong, you will not be able to get anything else right after that. So that's why we start with that in Unit 2 and highly emphasize that to our students and to our professionals that you need to understand the customer and the customer's problem really, really well. After we have that with our students, we encourage them to think about an MVP or a minimal viable product, which effectively has them test out their ideas and their problems, and come up with solutions and figure out a problem solution fit. We want to make sure that they are able to come up with a very lean process to test out the solution that they have come up with the exact audience, such that they can get validation on the solution that they have come up with this time, whether that is a good fit or not. Once it go through that, then we get into more of institutionalizing of the product that they have conceptualized. And that's where product development, customer adoption, and product viability comes up. Product development is the process within the company, within the organization that you're working with. What are some of those core product management processes that you should be aware of? Customer adoption is how do you work with marketing, sales, and distribution side of the organization to make sure that you can get customer adoption in volume. And product viability is around the business aspects, making sure that you can understand different revenue models with different pricing models, risk management strategies that you would need within an organization. After we're done with the core product management process, we jump into the core skills that are needed to succeed as a product manager. So agile principles, a very popular methodology, commonly used amongst a lot of tech companies. We will go through that so you understand how agile is conducted at companies. We also want you to understand technology, design, and data a little bit before you enter that field. You may or may not have any technology or startup or design background, which is okay, but we teach you the core skills to get you there. And then after we go through the skills, we want to make sure that all of you who are looking to jump into a new career in product management, you know how to start your job search, how to be more effective at it, how do you effectively hack it, and then go through interview process. And we guide you through different different types of interviews and strategies on how you can prepare and answer the interviews such that the interviewer is going to be happy with your performance. And this encompasses the overall course and our overall mental model of product management, which starts with the core process, then moves on to the skills, and then finishes off with a career. This, once again, is a roadmap that you have seen and something that I just went over at a very high level. What we will be doing at the end of this is sending all the participants that are here right now an overview of the overall program roadmap. So you have this with you, so we can understand and make sure that all of your questions are answered. Seems like there's a question here. I just want to make sure that gets answered. Or actually, I'll take the question in about 2 minutes. So before we move into here, I want to make sure that folks that have attended who are over here get an idea of what exactly the program structure looks like. So effectively, the way we at Boost offer this, it is an accelerated program. It is a 4-week program. So effectively, beginning of November, we will start our next cohort. And by the end of November, you'll be certified as a product manager. and you'll be ready with the skills, with the process, and with the mindset to master the interview by the end of November. We want to make sure we enhance your knowledge and become interview ready. And the overall flow, the workflow that you saw for the product process, we want to make sure that you are able to familiarize yourself with the product system, which will enable you to be successful in your career. The format I mentioned very briefly, that it is a interactive live session. I will be the lead instructor. There will be lots of Q&As that will be happening. As part of that overall program, there will be a 3-part project that all the students will have to conduct, which will enable you to apply the skills that are going to be over there. And you get feedback on the project from both the instructor and your peers. So you will have plenty of ways to improve the work that you are doing and to gain feedback on anything that is happening. Throughout the entire course, what we want to do is make sure that everything that we speak about is not in theory. We want to make sure you can contextualize that knowledge. So we will make sure we provide you with some of the best examples from the industry so you understand how product managers at top technology companies think about problems that they're facing. And we also want to make sure that you get to hear from some guest speakers and industry experts about their experience. In the previous one of the previous cohorts, we had a recruiter who had done a lot of work with Google come in and talk about how do you actually go and apply successfully at Google, and what she would look at while she was at Google for product manager roles. Pricing information is on the right side as well. So pricing, obviously, if you are here, you know from some of the other boot camps that they offer, our pricing that we offer is very fair. Many students from the past have selected us because this was something that they were able to afford. And frankly, with the price and the experience and the skills that you're gaining from the interview and technology, data, and design standpoint, that should make you very excited about proceeding with the program that we have to offer. Any attendees from today, they will be eligible for a $100 discount. So we will send all this information later on in the email to you, how you could get that discount going on. So just want to go through this slide before I go through the Q&A. So there are some questions that have come up in the poll. I want to make sure we get those answered. First one is around office hours. Can we set up time to get personalized help from you while in this program? Absolutely. So whether it is about the content, whether it is about the project, or whether it is about your job search, myself and other instructors, we will all be here to help you succeed as you're part of this this program, because we want to make sure that you are successful in the journey that you are taking on, and we are here to help you guide through that. Any more questions? Hey Krish, I'm not able to see the questions.
Okay, I can just read them. So the second question is from Hector. He says, "Hi, thanks for the details. I was wondering if there's any PM certification that you recommend and if your program covers the topics needed."
Awesome. Thank you for that question, and great question. So PM certifications, in terms of an actual thing that you can add after your name, that's not necessarily anything that we as a program necessarily recommend. I have hired many product managers in the past in my career for the companies that I work for. And although some candidates have had that, it doesn't necessarily add any crazy value. What we want to see as a hiring manager at that point is that you possess the right process, the mindset, and the skills to do the product management role well. And that is exactly what we teach over here as part of Boost. The skills, the process, and the mindset for you to succeed as a product manager. This program was also designed looking at everything that we know as hiring managers for product manager roles at some of the top tech companies. And we want to make sure that we are educating the next generation of product managers in the way that we think will help them succeed and help the companies that they're at succeed.
Okay, there's one more question. Do you conduct mock interviews?
Great question. Thank you for that again. Yeah, so as part of the course, there will be lots of exercises where we do interviews as a group. And of course, if there are any opportunities, if this is something that you would want to do outside of class, on our side, from Boo's side, we're happy to have mock interviews as well.
Yeah, those were pretty much 3 questions. Hector says, thanks for the answer.
Great. If there's any more questions, feel free to type them. Happy to spend the next 5-10 minutes answering any more questions. But that effectively takes us to the end of this deck. And I think I've mentioned this a few times already. By the end of the 4 weeks, within a month, we want to make sure that you have the mindset, the experience, and the readiness to be a product manager at a top tech company and be successful in the role that you end up taking on. And I'll actually leave it on the slide if you want to get information. Awesome. So yeah, no more questions that seem to be coming in.
Yeah, there's one. Will these details be sent? Yeah, so yeah, you'll get all these details sent to you in an email shortly after this event is over.
Great. So hopefully we were able to answer some of your questions. You enjoyed the sample lecture that we had over here. It's like the last class that we were able to have on this. They had a lot of fun going through the material. The class was very interactive and they learned a lot from each other from the discussions. So fantastic way to really get started on your product management journey. So that was a sample lecture. Obviously, when we are in class, we'll go in much more detail and have a lot more of open conversations and open discussions about any examples that you want to hear more about. Another thing that we try to do on our end is make sure that the class sizes are small enough such that the discussions are productive and everybody feels welcome and open to have conversations in the class. So that's one thing that we aim to do as well, which certainly contributes into the overall student experience that we set up on our side. So if there aren't any more questions, then I thank you. Our team thanks you for being here, spending this Friday evening with us. You will receive all the information that we just spoke about during this session in your email in a little bit. And we certainly hope to see you at our next cohort of product management class. Thank you.